Do you think it is that you prospered? I mean, you really succeeded in America. Martin was given such a tough time.
You mean by Londoners?
By Londoners.
Oh, yeah, well, in,
yes.
London, no, in London there's nothing but spite and resentment towards Martin.
Yeah, why?
Well, they're jealous of him.
You think?
Oh, yeah. Everyone wishes they could be him. And they'd love him to fail. And if something goes wrong in his life, they all celebrate it. It's nauseating. I can't believe he hasn't left already.
No, but the Americans, well,
it's a nasty,
Londoners
London can be a nasty, spiteful little village. It was that way to Salman after a bit, too. After pretending to be in solidarity with him against a theocratic terrorist and a death squad attempt and so on, they all started complaining about his security costs 10 bob that we don't want to pay. And he's been seen going to cocktail parties when he's supposed to be in hiding, you know, as if hideous, grudging resentment. And I'm very glad I got out of that dump when I did.
It didn't happen to you?
No. No one's jealous of me. They're just glad to see me go. Or, more likely, didn't even notice I'd left.
You said that you decided, long ago, you said this, that you didn't have the stuff for fiction.
Yes.
What was the stuff you were lacking?
Well, I didn't know. All I knew was that friends I did have it. Martin was one, Ian McKeown was another, Salman, Julian Barnes. I was very lucky to have these people as colleagues when I was young, and friends. And all I thought was, well, whatever it is that it takes to write what they're writing, I don't have it. It took me ages to work out what it was, this X factor that I don't have. So I thought, OK, Hitchens, don't bore people with your bottom drawer fiction and poetry, keep that to yourself. Years later, it was actually in the course of a conversation with Salman that I mentioned in the book. I realized what they'd got and I didn't have, and it's music, knowledge of and appreciation of music. Doesn't mean that they have to be able to play an instrument, though they mainly can. Doesn't have to be that they're good at it, but they have some music circulating in the system, and I'm abnormally bad at music.
And you think it will be ever thus?
Well, I've spoken to some people who are much better literary critics than I am, and said, do you think I'm onto something with this theory? And they said, oh yes, you should go into it. You could, if you did a bit more work on it, that might turn out to be quite an interesting hypothesis, because you check it. Well, Shakespeare's full of music. Shakespeare's effectively a musician. Chaucer, too. The Romantic poets, is full of music. Strong test, very strong test. Vladimir Nabokov, the sort of author who makes you feel, why do you bother? Didn't like music, but could write about it quite well. He wasn't musical, but he had musical capacity. So far, in every case I can test, that's the X factor in people who have poetry and fiction.
You're excused.
And that's
very good reason.
And I know I don't, so the test would then be, would it be true if I wrote about, say, why Orwell is a much better essayist than novelist? Probably yes, because he shows no interest in music at all.
You wrote a book called Letters to a Contrarian, which is one of the reasons I think people took up to calling you a contrarian, which you don't like.
Don't like.
So what do you like for your particularly virulent branch of, argumentativeness, insistence on rightness, passion for argument?
Do you find virulent? I mean, I'm asking you seriously.
Intense. Well, to read. I mean, you're charming in person.
Well, I'm trying to do it so as to improve my own style. I mean, I like arguing because you get better at it. Not so that you can leave the other person in the dust begging for mercy, nice though that is.
Is any
and
argument...
richly though they deserve it.
Is any argument that you've lost nonetheless an argument worth having?
Well,
it's a failed argument.
No, I say in my confessional bit, my answer to the Proust questionnaire, that probably the weakness and the sign of my insecurity is that because I like arguing so much and because it means so much to me, I probably, in small things in private life, am bad at giving way. I don't like to lose even a tiny argument. And that may make me difficult to live with, say.
Surely not.
Pretty definitely, yes.
Well, whatever you call oppositionist, provocateur, contrarian, is that something that you gradually moved towards, or you just jumped and that was you?
No, I'm not always an oppositionist. I mean, the most trouble I've ever got into was by taking the side of the government, being, as it were, on the establishment side, as some would have called it. I would have still said on the radical side, about the decision to try and remove the Taliban and Al-Qaeda from Afghanistan, and the Ba'athist fascist regime from Iraq. I mean, at that point, I wasn't in the streets with the anti-government opposition as I had so often been. I was wishing I could advise the government on some slightly smarter tactics than the ones they actually adopted.
Which has generally been described in shorthand as moving to the right,
of course,
becoming a neoconservative.
Well,
Does that annoy you?
Well, people use these phrases as if they were already lurking in the keyboard. They touch the keyboard and the cliche comes into their fingers and then goes through the brain and then back onto the paper. He's sold out or he's moved to the right. It's too boring for words.
You mentioned your children before. You have an adult son. You know what it's like to be the child of a dull man, a dull father. What do you think it's like to be the child of Christopher Hitchens?
Rather irritating. I would think. Well, embarrassing. Probably. Well, certainly with children when they're younger, even if they don't disapprove of what their parents do, they don't particularly want to be reading about it in any paper where their schoolmates could read about it. You just don't want attention drawn to yourself.
You said you weren't much of a father when they were young.
No.
You better now?
Much. I get better as people get older. But most men are pretty hopeless when newborn bundles arrive, and they're so incredibly impressed by how women appear to know what to do, and then they think, well, I'll go off and do extra work and make some money, and they justify it in that way.
Christopher, I've heard you say this.
Yeah.
And
well, now you're hearing me say it again.
No, but my point would be that I think after the 70s that is actually not true. That may have been true, but I don't think that is true, that men are so less capable of dealing with children and that it's better that they go off and earn money. You know, maybe the mother could go and earn some money. Did that never occur to you?
I'm not having any woman of mine go to work.
You know you're going to get into trouble if you go down there.
No, I won't. No, they don't need to work. They can if they like, but they don't have to.
You are joking, aren't you?
No, I'm not. No, I would expect expect to take care of them. They work if you want, but you don't have to.
You are the commander's son, aren't you? Yes.
I am, yes.
You really mean that?
Sure.
You don't think women should go and work?
Yeah, I said they're welcome to do that. I'm thrilled if they want to. If they don't want to, they don't have to.
Is this you being ironic? Is this your
for.
Famous attachment to irony?
No. What's so difficult about it?
It's just wrong. It's just absolutely wrong.
No, they're called the gentle sex for a good reason. You want to see them. You want to see them coarsened in the coarsened in the labour market? No. Not if they don't want to. They
You're
shouldn't
61,
feel they shouldn't feel they
not
have to.
180.
No, that's not good. I'm here to look after them.
Did you ever think what an irony it is that someone who loves irony like you should go and live in a country which doesn't appreciate it?
I remember sitting with this very nice woman in New York. I think I mentioned it in the book. A publisher, and very clever, who said why she thought I might be a good writer for a book she had in mind. She said, and of course, you guys from England, you have irony at your disposal, which of course we don't. And I thought, I can't say nothing, so I fortunately thought, well, so I said, well, apparently not. And she somehow congealed at that. I don't know which of us proved the point there. Yeah, and well, it's also a danger when you try and be funny in print or in voice. People are writing it down. There should be a special typeface called 8-point ironic bold or something. People say this was where he was trying to be ironic, but no one got it.
Christopher, I've given you every single chance to opt out of that last statement.
Oh no! I mean, no, that's my view. I don't think a Mrs. Hitchens should have to work.
It's been lovely to have you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's very nice of you to invite me.
Please, a huge thank you to the sexist but charming Christopher Hitchens.
Thank you, Dan. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah. It.
You had to say it. Thanks a lot.
And until we meet again on the first Tuesday of next month, good night and very happy reading.